Yeah, my name is Jos Notermans. I am responsible for our digital portfolio. Focus on machines now, but in the past I also did inks, so I represent inks as well. Most people know us originally as Stork. Stork was the inventor of rotary screen printing in 1963. And as a logical development, we went into digital already at the end of the 80s. We started to develop our first digital machine, which we launched on ITMA in 1991, a long time ago. And since then we have been developing, so I think here behind me you see now Jasmine. It's our 9th or 10th generation machines. So apart from rotary screen printing, we are in digital now for more than 30 years. Rotary screen printing originally from Textile, but now also in already for 20 years in graphics. So we're doing label printing with rotary screen, and now latest developments are printed electronics. So non-textile, non-paper, but printed electronics for strips that are used by diabetes to test blood, but also for RFID antennas and so on. So we are quite broad, but the common denominator is printing. We are printing textiles, labels, electronics, printing. That's why also our slogan is printing tomorrow, which doesn't mean we don't print today, but we mean we're also there tomorrow. So there's a stability factor in our company with a long heritage that we have. Well, if you look at when digital came up, everybody was seeing that the main advantage was that you have freedom of design. So you don't have the repeat that you normally have with the screen. Every 64 centimeters you have the same image coming back. Digital you can make as big as you want. You can have 16 million colors instead of 8, 10 or maximum 24. So that was always the focus. But you see in the last, let's say 5 to 7 years, the focus is going more to the sustainability advantage that you have with digital. Because compared to conventional printing, traditional printing, the amount of energy and water and so on that you use is about 4 times lower than in traditional printing. And yeah, with the focus on sustainability that's everywhere in the world, on energy consumption, on water consumption, then digital really gives a big advantage over conventional. But we are serving both. We're still also, conventional is still the biggest in the world. About 85 to 90% is still not digital. So also in the conventional side, we are doing a lot of development to make rotary screen printing more energy sufficient, less polluting and so on. So yeah, in a nutshell, in the beginning it was the design freedom, unlimited possibilities, very fast time to market. Fast fashion grew through digital, but now the focus is a lot on sustainability. As you can also see if you go around on this exhibition, there's many companies focusing to that subject, and I think it's not for nothing. Everybody realized that if we go on like this, we kill the planet, and we don't want to do that. Not for our children or the children of their children, and so that sustainability awareness is really something that you also see when you walk around on this show. Yeah, you know, when I started 30 years ago in digital, I was always saying that I was hoping that before I go in retirement, everything will be digital. And now we are 30 years down the line, and now I say it will not happen. That dream that I may have had 30 years ago will not happen, because conventional printing will remain, because it's so efficient, so cost efficient. Digital cannot replace that. So, but having said that, those two technologies are going to live alongside together. And you see more and more companies doing both. And they have a rotary part and they have a digital part. And where maybe 10 years ago they were advertising this is printed digital as a reason to say why it was more expensive. Nowadays it's the same. and people don't care anymore how it was made. They like it or they don't like it. And so where is the industry going? I think people always need clothes, and people always want to see nice things, and printing fabric makes it more nice. You are wearing a dyed shirt, I'm wearing a printed shirt. If you look at female dresses, a lot of them are printed, and that will remain. So in that perspective, textile printing will always be there, I'm sure. If I look to Turkey, then Turkey has always been a very important country for our company. That's why we also have our own subsidiary here in Turkey. And that will remain. The textile industry, textile is so much embedded in Turkey, it will stay. It will stay. And we even saw that when COVID came, that changed. There was a lot of movement going to Asia for production. But that trend was changed when COVID came, because many of the brands, European brands, were unsure if they could get all the stuff still from Asia. And then you remember we had this problem in the Suez Canal a couple of years ago. Now is again it's problematic because of the Red Sea problems. And this makes brands aware that they may have to produce their stuff more close to their customers. And that's why you see, for instance, also in Central America, you see the textile industry growing, because they serve North America, where North America brands maybe 10 years ago was getting a lot of volume out of Asia. They're now getting more and more volume closer by. So we see it in our consumable sales, in our machine sales. Central America, even South America is growing. Same here. We even see India growing more than, for instance, China. So nobody knows what will happen in the geopolitics have an influence on all this buying behavior. But how that exactly works out, nobody knows. For us, ITM, I think this is the 8th time I'm here. And in the beginning it was really focused on Turkey, but now it's very international. Yesterday we had a lot of visitors from Iran, from India, from Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, of course also Turkey. But even European guys that normally would go to ITMA, they also come here. So I think ITM has become a very important textile show for almost everybody in textiles outside of China. But even Chinese are here. In the basis it's true. If you look at a rotary machine, you will need a couple of operators to run it efficiently. A digital printer, you need basically one operator is the minimum. You cannot put half an operator, but if you have 2 or 3 machines, many of our customers run that with a very limited amount of operators. So from that perspective it's true. But what is not true is that the importance of the knowledge of the operator remains very important. Maybe it's not anymore like before they had in German they call Fingerspitzengefühl. They know exactly how to operate a machine, and that's different in a digital machine, because it happens in the computer. But if your operator isn't aware how your digital printer operates with colors, he may not be able to get the correct result out of his printer. So operators may be less in number, but even important, maybe more important with their knowledge of how to operate machines. And from that perspective, it makes a change. And you may say it's more easy to operate everywhere. A term that you often hear is nearshoring, it's closer to the customer. And that's true. But still, because all the rest of the stuff is still coming a lot from Asia. And you can have a digital printer, but your fabric, in many cases, comes still from Far East and so on. So Yeah, it will globalize more, but it will not change dramatically that all the printing will be moving from east to west or something like that. I don't see that happening. So if we look at the textile printing industry, where traditionally you have the reactive acid disperse to print on cotton or on polyamide lycra or on polyesters, now you see a big move towards pigment printing to replace reactive acid or disperse, because on pigment you don't need to steam and wash. So the amount savings on water and energy is tremendous. The challenge has always been that in conventional, pigment is by far about half of every meter printed in the world is printed with pigments in rotary. In digital, pigment was very difficult because pigments are particles and you have to push these particles through the very small holes that are in the inkjet head. So you have to make the particles very small, and when you make them very small, then the color strength goes down. So making a reliable and suitable pigment application has been a challenge in the industry for a long time. But now you see many of the stuff that we have hanging here, and also this printer here behind me is printing pigments. So we have come to a point where the reliability is good, where the color performance is good. More and more companies are now looking into pigment printing in digital going forward. If you look at polyester, we see a big change going from traditional disperse, direct disperse, where you still need to steam and wash, moving to sublimation. And sublimation in the beginning, people didn't like it because the backside is white, but nowadays that is more and more accepted, and the backside is less white nowadays. So moving to sublimation coming from disperse and moving to pigments coming from reactive acid direct disperse is a trend that is, in my view, irreversible. And so a lot of our developments are going into that direction. Another point is, which is also, it's a buzzword, is AI, artificial intelligence. We're also putting that into our printers by means of using camera systems to automatically adjust printers, to detect which nozzles are not working well, to compensate those nozzles with neighboring nozzles, so that you can print longer with the print heads than you could do, let's say, 5-10 years ago. So on the software side, artificial intelligence, automating stuff is becoming very important. And 10 years ago, speed was very important. Machines had to be faster and faster, but nowadays a single pass printer can print 80 meters a minute without any problems. And the good thing about digital is you can always keep on printing. You can print 24 hours a day. You don't have any standstill to change screens or to clean the machine. So if you calculate 80 meters per minute, if you calculate that how much meters you can do in a year, it's like 20 million meters. And not many textile companies are able to produce that kind of volume, or maybe I should say to sell that kind of volume. So speed, that discussion is gone, it's behind us. It's now reliability, it's sustainability, that's the main things where developments are now aimed at. Middle East traditionally has been, if they were talking about digital, it was always a sign and banner market. But having said that, there is of course also a lot of fashion in that area. So I expect going forward that you find most of it new companies that will go into textile printing, and then they will immediately go digital, because if you don't have the heritage of rotary, and what you mentioned, water consumption is an important factor there, then I think that will come up. If you talk about Africa, then in rotary printing, Africa has been extremely important to my company as well in the past. The amount of rotary printing in countries like Nigeria and so on has been big. Digital has not been growing a lot there. We have some customers in South Africa, we have some in Morocco, Tunisia, Egypt, but I would say it's still in its infancy. So, but definitely that's a growth market which we see coming. I've also seen that there's the first conferences coming up on digital printing in Africa. So I think if you and I meet in 10 years from now, then talking about digital printing in Africa will be different from what it is today. So it's still an emerging market, so to say. That's what I feel, and so we are also working on with our existing channels, but also working on new channels to sell products in Africa. So I think it's really emerging.